These days, it's cucumber season, and I'm sure many of you are just like me. When you see fresh, delicious cucumbers at a great price, it's hard not to bring home a big bag of them. But just a few days later, they start to wilt, become soft and mushy, and eventually have to be thrown away because they weren't used in time. It's such a waste. But here's the interesting part. There's a storage method that many people have never tried. With just a little preparation, you can keep cucumbers for a much longer time while still making them convenient to use in your favorite recipes. And that's not all. I'll also share a few other vegetables and herbs that, when stored properly, can save you a surprising amount of time when preparing meals every day. Be sure to watch until the end of the video because these tips could completely change the way you store food in your kitchen. The storage method is very simple. First, wash the cucumbers thoroughly under running water. I have created subtitles in multiple languages. Please select your preferred language. Comment below and let me know which country you are watching from. It's amazing that we can connect from all around the world. Then dry them completely. If any moisture remains on the surface, ice crystals can form during freezing, which may reduce the quality of the cucumbers. So, be sure not to skip this step. After cleaning and drying them, wrap each cucumber individually in plastic wrap. And place them in a zip-top bag. Try to remove as much air as possible before sealing the bag. Removing excess air helps prevent the cucumbers from absorbing odors from the freezer and reduces moisture loss. As a result, they will retain a better texture and taste when you take them out to use later. Next, I'll show you a simple way to use frozen cucumbers by making an easy cucumber salad. If you try to cut the cucumbers immediately after taking them out of the freezer, they will be too hard and difficult to slice. Instead, let them sit at room temperature for about 10 to 15 minutes. If you want to speed up the thawing process, you can briefly rinse them under cold water before cutting them into bite-sized pieces. Then sprinkle them with salt and let them sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. This step helps prevent the cucumbers from releasing too much water after preparation and allows them to maintain a better crunchy texture. After salting, rinse them once more with cold water. Unlike smashed cucumber dishes, this cucumber salad requires you to squeeze out as much excess water as possible. This helps the cucumbers absorb the dressing better and improves the overall texture of the dish. This helps remove excess moisture, giving the cucumbers a firmer, crunchier, and more satisfying texture. Now it's time to season them. Add 1 tablespoon of sesame oil and 2 pinches of salt. Then mix well. Simply transfer the salad to a serving plate and sprinkle some toasted sesame seeds on top. You'll have a light yet delicious dish. If you enjoy a little heat, you can add some chili powder and a bit of minced garlic for extra flavor. When you taste this cucumber salad made from frozen cucumbers, you'll notice the refreshing coolness and crisp texture combined with the rich aroma of sesame oil and the savory flavor of salt. It's especially refreshing and appetizing on hot days. I'd like to share one more useful tip. You can actually prepare the cucumbers before freezing them and still preserve their crisp texture. Here's how. Wash the cucumbers thoroughly. Cut them into bite-sized pieces. Then sprinkle them with salt. And let them sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. After that, rinse them with cold water and squeeze out as much moisture as possible by hand. Where are you from? It's such a joy that we're connecting from all over the world. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your support. Next, place them in a zip-top bag or food storage bag. Remove as much air as possible and put them directly into the freezer. By doing this, whenever you need them, you can simply take them out, add your seasonings, and enjoy them right away. You can also mix them with steamed potatoes to make a salad, use them as an ingredient in kimbap, or use them as a garnish for cold noodles. It's a very convenient ingredient to have on hand. That concludes my guide on how to store and use frozen cucumbers. Next, I'd like to introduce 2 more foods that are incredibly useful to store in the freezer. Many people have probably never thought that these foods can be frozen as well. The first one is cilantro, also known as coriander leaves. Cilantro wilts and becomes soggy very quickly when stored only in the refrigerator. After just a few days, the leaves often start to turn yellow, become soft, and lose their distinctive aroma. Here's a useful tip. You can give cilantro an ice water shock before storing it. This method also works well if your cilantro has already started to wilt and you want to revive it. Cutting off the roots of the cilantro helps remove parts that may contain dirt, as well as any old or damaged sections. It also helps keep the herb cleaner and fresher for a longer period of time. First, prepare a bowl of ice water and soak the cilantro in it for about 5 minutes. The cold water helps tighten the surface of the leaves and encourages the plant cells to contract, helping the cilantro maintain its deep green color and stay fresh longer. After that, remove the cilantro from the water and let it dry completely on paper towels before storing it using your preferred method. The first time I tried this trick, the cilantro stayed fresh much longer. The leaves remained deep green and looked incredibly vibrant. One important thing to remember: make sure the cilantro is completely dry before storing it. Otherwise, excess moisture can cause it to become soggy and spoil more quickly. I find this method incredibly convenient and easy to do. Almost every household can use it. Many people think that once cilantro has been frozen, it can no longer be used properly. However, if frozen correctly, cilantro can be stored for about 2 to 3 months while still retaining much of its flavor and aroma. First, remove any wilted leaves and tough stems. In fact, frozen cilantro is still excellent for adding to soups, broths, stir-fries, and other dishes that benefit from its fresh herbal fragrance. Then place the cilantro in a bowl of clean water. Add 1 tablespoon of baking soda. Stir until dissolved. and wash the cilantro several times to remove dirt and grit. It's such a joy that we're connecting from all over the world. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your support. Afterward, drain it thoroughly or pat it completely dry with paper towels. Next, either chop the cilantro or leave it whole, depending on how you plan to use it. Place the cilantro in a zip-top bag or an airtight container. Remove as much air as possible and store it in the freezer. When you're ready to use it, there's no need to thaw it completely. Simply take out the amount you need and add it directly to the dish you're cooking. This method ensures that you always have flavorful cilantro on hand whenever you need it, without worrying about it wilting or going to waste. The second food is green onions, also known as scallions. When people buy a bunch of green onions, they often don't use all of them before they start to wilt, which leads to unnecessary waste. By preparing and freezing them in advance, this problem can be completely avoided. Simply wash the green onions thoroughly, let them dry completely, and then chop them into small pieces. Place them in a zip-top bag or an airtight container and store them in the freezer. Frozen green onions can be used directly in soups, sprinkled over rice dishes, or added to rich and oily foods to enhance their color, freshness, and aroma. Today, I've shared quite a few useful tips with you. Perhaps by now you've realized that the freezer is not just a place to store meat. When used properly, it can help reduce food waste, save time in the kitchen, and cut down on the number of trips you need to make to the grocery store. After watching today's video, why not try buying a bag of cucumbers and putting them in the freezer right away? You may be surprised by how such a simple change can have a positive impact on your family's meals and the health of your loved ones. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back with more practical and useful tips to help make everyday life easier. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.